Welcome back to another week of foal watching. It's very cold. It's very cold. It's snowing. So I'm miserable for the next couple hours. That also being said, we didn't have any babies over the weekend. I'm like super surprised, in all honesty, that we didn't. My poor weekend night watchman. We were talking yesterday, and they were like, I've only delivered 5 babies this year. And I was like, damn. I was like, that sucks. They were like, I think this is the lowest that I've ever had to foal for you all. And I was like, that actually that makes sense for me, because I know I've been slammed. And I've said, I was like, normally I have kind of like a break every once in a while. I haven't had that break, well, up until last week. So I was like, I guess it sounds about right. As for, are we going to have a baby tonight? I do think so. This mare is currently staring at me like, why on earth are you talking to a wall? My phone's on the wall. She could care less. Anyway, I'm going to show you her momentarily. And then afterwards, I'm going to go hide in my warm room so that I can hopefully regain the feeling of my fingers, because they are dying very quickly. Anyway, this is the office time. I'm pretty sure she'll go here soon. If you if you can see, she's streaming milk. Yeah, she's not quite warm yet. She's been uncomfortable. She's been kind of shifty. She's been like doing small poop piles. So I have a feeling she'll probably go sometime tonight, hopefully early. Judging by the way she's acting, I'm going to assume early. Yeah, what are you doing? She's like, I don't know. You do know. This is not your first kiddo. It's not your first rodeo. But yes, I have a feeling she'll probably foal pretty early on tonight. Besides her, we do still have these other few ladies that also have wax. They're just on this side of the barn. I am slow. I'm not slow, actually. I'm just in pain. I messed up my knee again. I don't know how. Don't know why. But I messed up my knee again. Anyway, this Instagram has wax, but she's been relatively quiet. She hasn't done anything interesting. She tends to not to anyway. She kind of just lays down and foals without any warning. And then this Violence also has wax. She's getting there. I think she's actually dripping milk a little bit too now. But she's a first timer. And in my opinion, I had said, I was like, I didn't think her boob was really full. She's definitely got there now. I think we're a lot closer, so I fully expect her to foal sometime this week. Which one of my kiddos over here is stomping and creating havoc? It's you. Hi. What? He's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna bite you with my new teeth. I got teeth now. Yes, you do. You got a little baby teeth. Yes. Oh goodness. Gotta play. Have to play so bad. Oh goodness. Anyway. Besides those 3, why is your light off? You have a baby. Your light is supposed to be on. I think the Essential Quality is another one that might potentially have a baby sometime this week. But really, I think it's mainly those 3. She can be my random 4th. I don't know. I guess we're going to just wait and see how this week plays out. Speaking of which, granted, I know by the time you all see this, you all will hopefully have already seen last week's video. So it always takes a really long time to upload these long videos. Typically it takes about a day, in all honesty. So I always just like leave my phone open and let it run, like when I take my nap, right? And I know it takes a while, and so I always plan accordingly, and I messed up. I edited on like Sunday evening, and so when I started trying to post it, it was like Sunday night, Monday morning, and so it's like still, it's only at like 38%, where it's like I'm getting there very slowly, and I have another one too to upload right after it. I'm just like, ugh, poor timing. I should have done the shorter one first instead of the longer one. These are all the mares we have left. That's like, these are, well, not all of them. This is most of them. They're all like, it's a little chilly today. It is. I like how you can always tell which two are mine. I don't know why they always stand out to me so much. Because I know to you all, you're probably like, there's just a chestnut and then a whole bunch of bays. But I can look at there and I'm like, I know who that is. That is. And that one. Now those two in the middle, I always forget which one is which because they look exactly the same. But in my defense, you know, it happens to the best of us. There's a lot of horses here. Anyway, I've rambled too much. I'm cold. Let's wait for this thing to finally pop. In the meantime, I'm gonna go hide in my little warm room and just wait for her to say anything. I'm talking really quietly for like a specific reason. So it's about 5:15. Around this time is when I go to feed horses in the other barns. And all these ladies know that, right? Like they know the routine, they know the situation. I noticed around 4:45 that my tricky mare, my sneaky mare, she was starting to go into labor, like she was getting uncomfortable and she's starting to get a little warm, which is something she typically doesn't give us a warning. But I knew what she was waiting for. She was waiting for me to leave. And so I kind of waited and I just did my normal routine. I went ahead and set everything up in front of her stall. I turned on all the lights just like normal. And I got in my truck, started my truck, moved my truck around to the backside and pretended to leave to encourage her to just lay down. So hopefully, I mean, obviously I'm whispering and she can probably hear it a little bit. But ideally, she's probably like, the human's gone. It's time to have her baby. But at the same time, she's also not acting uncomfortable again. She's been pretty quiet ever since the other mare foaled. Now she's a little uncomfortable. So that's kind of also why I'm hanging out here. So keep an eye on her. Anyway, so the things I do to freaking make sure that I can catch this sneaky thing. She is sneaky as hell, let me tell you that. Anyway, let's go see if it worked. I haven't heard her lay down. Nope, she's still up, but she's looking for a spot. So we're gonna slowly back up and we're just gonna hide over here until she lays down. It is now Tuesday evening. If you see that the lighting is so much brighter all of a sudden when I properly introduced the two new kids, it's because it got chaotic. 3 new kids. It got chaotic. One of them was born toward like the end of my shift, but then to add to it, TikTok deleted my draft and I had to like rapid fire a new one that very chaotically. It was a mess. Anyway, and then to add to it, I came up at, everyone leaves at 4, right? And so I came up and I was like, yeah, everyone's pretty quiet. And then I came back like 30 minutes later and she was laying down huffing and puffing, but she had like just broke water. And I was like, I timed it perfectly, but shame on you for trying to be sneaky. So luckily I think most of the footage I got of him is him standing. But I was here for that whole thing. I was just a little preoccupied to get laying down sleepy, cutesy. he's just vibing, running laps around the stall at the moment. Anyway, let me introduce you all to all three of them properly. And let's, well, I guess we'll continue the chaos. Maybe, potentially, I guess. Miss Piggy Wiggy over here. You laid down in the worst possible spot for your poor mama. And she's like, I'm gonna lean in and get even more comfortable, if you don't mind. This is a Violence filly. About to say, you saw me giving her a little bit of a bottle. Mama had been kind of dripping milk for quite a few days, and so when we test the colostrum, it was kind of weak, and so I obviously gave her some good colostrum before we let her drink from Mom. She's like, yep, it's fine, though. I'm doing great. Yeah, and for those of you who might wonder, like, well, why didn't you collect colostrum from Mom if she's been dripping for a few days? I always kind of collect it on an as-needed basis. So so the ones I typically will avoid not even bothering collecting it from are first-time mamas, and then mares who have, like, really small bags, because the ones who have small bags, sometimes they have a harder time producing a lot. And then maidens, the first timers, they're always just so hit or miss. But if I have something that's like a more older, been there, done that, or is just a whole lot easier to milk, has a bigger bag, a whole lot easier to get a lot from, then sometimes I'll go ahead and steal it from them. And that's why I just hoard my collection. And I also only ever keep it if it's really, really good colostrum. I don't keep anything that's kind of just like middle of the lane. But that's why we have a whole bunch, just in case. But obviously they've been doing great. Her blood was a little apparently. So they gave her a little shot, and she's been a little tired because of it. But she should perk up here. I think they said it's going to take a couple hours, but she'll perk up here. This is the Instagram colt that was born. He was born kind of like right around 5. I'd mentioned it, like I was trying to be sneaky with her, and it worked. It worked perfectly. She really was just waiting for me to kind of leave, which was what I figured. But you know what? It's fine. I won. Isn't that white? No? What do you mean no? He's like, I don't know. Anyway, fun fact of the day. This is Akashi's baby brother. So, for those of you who have not met him yet, he's kind of just been vibing for the moment. But Akashi is one of her kids, and we kept him as a racehorse. And he retired last year, and he's hopefully going to be my future eventer. He actually should be starting to go into training this year. I had to take a long time to work with his feet because he had a crappy farrier at a point in time, so we've had to rework on his feet. Yes, I know. But before we say goodbye, I want to show you how cool this kiddo's legs markings are. Look, see, got that first one, But this is the cool one. Ready? No, you stay right there. He's like, I want to follow you. Look at it. It's just like that one random stripe all the way up, and it just fades. Oh, oh, I bonked heads. Anyway, yeah. He's like, yeah. Are we so friendly? We so friendly. Your mom's kids typically aren't too friendly. Y'all are typically pretty standoffish. Ugh. He's like, yeah, I guess. Mr. Speedy over here. Good Lord. How you doing? He's like, I'm doing great. We've just been running around and playing and having so much fun. Oh, yes. Being born was so nice. Now I have all this room to stretch out and run around. He is huge. He is massive. This is a Not This Time colt. Yeah, Mama did great. He got a little bit of white everywhere, don't he? Oh, are we going to run and hide again, or are we going to eat? He's like, I think I'm going to eat. I have to laugh. Every once in a while, we'll get some kids that are like the really, really, really big ones like this, where they'll have a little bit of trouble learning how to lay down. And so I have to teach them sometimes because they'll go to try and lay down and they get scared of the fall, which I don't blame them. They're freaking huge. Ugh. But, yeah, I know. I have a feeling he's going to be one I'm going to have to teach, because you can tell that he'll occasionally go to look for a spot to lay down, and then he's like, I don't know about this, and then he runs around and is chaotic for a little bit. He's just so hyper right now. Let me tell you, he got everybody all wound up on this corner. So obviously we had to put up that, because the mare next to him, like once he was born, she got all excited and she was like, oh my God, I want a baby now too. And have you ever watched when like someone's trying to induce their own labor? Like they're walking, they're on bouncy balls, they're gonna eat hot stuff, things like that, things of that nature. She was basically trying to do like the equine equivalent to all that. I was like, good Lord, just stop it. And then he also got this mare all wound up, and this mare already has a baby, and so her poor baby was like, what is happening? I was like, apparently your mother is trying to steal a kid that is not hers. Well, I do have 2 new mares to say hello to. We have this lovely lady who's carrying an Into Mischief, and the other lovely lady is all the way on this other end of the barn, but I have to do a pit stop in between her anyway, because obviously we had all these 3 kids pop out. These were kind of the 3 that I was like, any day now, any moment now. And then this one was kind of one like, okay, if she went, I wouldn't be surprised if she goes, which is this essential quality. She got a little uncomfortable last night with that. Once that lady foaled, she now has a tiny bit of wax, so wouldn't be surprised if she ends up doing anything interesting. Did your baby kick you in the face? I could have swore that's what I saw from the corner of my eye. She's like, I hate this child. I know. And I don't know why her light is on, but this lovely lady is carrying Jack Christopher. So we got those 2 mares in. We got a potential candidate for a baby either tonight, tomorrow, sometime this week. But yeah, hopefully it was got really chaotic really fast for like a couple hours, and it was life. It is Thursday morning. I am very cold. My light is being stupid. Originally tonight I was gonna be like, hey, either the essential quality is gonna fall or no one's gonna fall. That was kind of the whole plan, because everyone was really quiet. And in all honesty, she was really quiet all night. She never got warm. She never walked. She never did nothing. Oh, and you can't even see it. And yet there's a child. My light died at a very inconvenient time, obviously. And I offered the mare. I was like, I can move you to a different stall where there's a light. And she was like, no, I'm good here. I'm not going to get up. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll accept that. So the lighting's going to be a little off, because God forbid these stupid lights work for once in their life. It's such a difficult job to be light. What are you doing? She's like, I'm going to lay here in a really random spot and just vibe. Anyway, I'll introduce you to him a little more properly when I have a little bit better lighting. Are you ready to go? She said nope. I know. This mare over here, she's like, I will take the baby. Gladly. I was looking over like what I filmed for the week and totally realized I forgot to introduce you all to the one kid. Also, the kid who I had mentioned, like, so he hasn't figured out how to lay down. He has obviously figured it out. He figured it out, like, I only had to help him lay down once or twice. And then he was like, okay, I got it. I'm like, fabulous. Oh, it's really windy. It's cold. But I forgot to say hello to somebody. No, I really didn't forget. I was hoping that they were going to change the light. And they did. So, we can say hello to you. Let me get in the stall so it's not so windy. But this is, oh, where you gonna go? You can't go anywhere too fast. But this is the essential quality. Are you gonna do the nom noms? The nom noms? Oh, goodness. Look at you. We can see you in the daylight. Don't escape. He's like, I don't know about you all. I don't think I want to say hi. Your mom will say hi. Your mama is the sweetest, loveliest lady. The kindest soul. Yes, you are. Oh, goodness. So sweet. Yeah, you're going to figure it out. Don't worry. Anyway, obviously, he's got some wraps on his legs, and you're probably like, oh, my God, what did it do? He's just a little like this in the ankles. And so, obviously, it's really, really important to get all that taken care of as soon as you can. And doing it when they're this young is easy, because obviously they're going to grow so quick that within like 3 days, all these little wraps are off of them. If you wait to do it when they're older, then you typically have to do either a surgery, and sometimes the surgeries don't work. And it's just a whole thing. So make sure that these guys hopefully have a sound, happy, healthy life career. We'll just go ahead and take care of any little thing right away. And it doesn't bug them. They're just going to be on stall rest with a wonky little leg brace for a little bit. But typically with it, depending on severity, about 3 days to, some of them are even like just a day, 2 days. 3 or 4 is typically the longest we have them on. And then they have normal pony legs. I must say, obviously, we can't show you wonky legs because wonky legs are wrapped. Aw, you're not like gonna let me show you the normal legs. Are you shy? Are you so shy? I am in firing range. But anyway, but he's obviously doing great. So far, all of our kiddos are doing great that were born this week. Whew, we had a lot of them. Did I introduce the violence? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I remember that conversation. Little piggy wiggy needing the colostrum. So yeah, we have little brace kid over here. We have Piggy Wiggy. And then we had my little flashy child with my cool markings. And then the kiddo who was scared of falling, which I really don't blame them. It's a lot of leg to fall from. It is Thursday evening. In all honesty, originally, like yesterday morning, I was like, I think we're gonna have a break after what did we have? The essential quality. I'm getting a cold, and it has like my whole body and brain is just gone, non-existent, nothing left of me. So anyway, I actually didn't really think we were gonna have another baby after the essential quality that we had yesterday in the morning, because no one else really had anything at the moment. I did think it was going to be between the two Curlins, the one of the gun runners, and a Jack Christopher, but I definitely was like, next week, you know? And then this Curlin, I guess she decided to change her mind, potentially. Yeah, I know. She didn't have anything at 6:30 when I first came to check everybody. And then when I came back at 7, she's like very heavily leaning on me now. I don't know if we're gonna be able to see it. Oh, don't run away from me. You can kind of see it. She's got like the tiniest bit of, it's not even really wax, it's more so milk. So I have a feeling she'll probably either foal tonight or tomorrow night. I kind of was hoping one of these ladies would wait for my poor weekend night watchman. My poor weekend night watchman has just been stuck with like really close, like, oh, I got 3 mares waxed up, ready to go. And then They wait till Monday. Yeah. All right. I need to go finish dying somewhere else, apparently. I don't even really feel that bad. It's mainly my throat, and then it's just my body aches, which it's like, it's expected this time of year because it's like 70 degrees in the daytime. And so, like, when I'm outside at like 4 or 5 o'clock, it's 70 and it's warm and it's toasty. And then now it's like 8:30 and the temperature dropped so hard, so quick. And I'm outside the whole time. And then we're like, everyone's always like, why are you sick? It's because I'm outside when the temperature is doing stupid stuff. It's not necessarily because I'm out and about, like, touching and interacting with other people. I never see anyone this time of year. It's just this weather. Anyway, she's probably our best chance for tonight, and I have a feeling if she foals, it will more than likely encourage her two buddies, which is the other Curlin and the Jack Christopher. Have I introduced you to Jack Christopher? Probably. I don't know. I've been sick, and you can tell at times when my ADHD is just whoosh. And I'm also where I'm sick, like, it's just that I have no energy to do anything. So the combination of both, but when I flare up, and it's just anyway, whole thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if she foals, if she encourages her two buddies to come along with her. But at this stage, she's the only one who has any wax or any kind of type of milk of that nature. The other two are quiet. Everyone else has been quiet. She's honestly been relatively quiet. If I remember correctly, she tends to foal either really early in the day or late the next day. So around, like, before 10 p.m. or she waits until 5 a.m. It's kind of the vibe. So if she decides to foal, I guess we'll have another baby. I think I should probably go through and edit for the week, because I have a feeling, and maybe redo a few sections, because I have a feeling it's just all like that. It's chaos, nothing but chaos. I need to get my life together. It is now Friday night. Thursday, this mama just kind of was on and off. Shifty would walk, then she would stop and eat, then she'd rub her butt, and then she'd stop and eat, and then she'd take a nap, and then she'd eat, and then she'd make mean faces at her neighbor, and then she'd eat, and then she'd walk again. It was just constant, right? So that being said, she had wax originally. Now she's actually actively dripping milk. She was apparently uncomfortable during the daytime for the first half of the day, and then she settled out the second half of the day. She's been, like, a little bit shifty again now, but it's kind of been the same thing as last night, where she'll walk a little bit and then she'll be fine. She's like, I'm fine, I'm gonna eat, and then she'll start a little like, oh, I'm uncomfortable again. So either she'll fall tonight, or she's gonna hold off for the weekend night watch. I guess we're gonna lock in and see. It is technically Saturday. I gotta wrap up Friday because things got a little chaotic, and so I didn't get to wrap it up. I gotta do a little bit of a demo, which sucks. Anyway, so do we remember, like, 3 weeks ago when we had the two tappets who refused to read the manual and tried to enter the world incorrectly, and so we had to take them to the clinic? So now when we were out there, even the vet was kind of like, hey, you know it comes in threes, and we're like, yeah, we know. And I know some of y'all are like, okay, does stuff like this really come in threes? I don't know what universal factor decided that 3 was the magic number for bad things to happen, but, like, it is. And in honesty, like, we're all like, yeah, hopefully it's not gonna happen, but at the same time, we're like, the other shoe's gonna drop eventually, maybe, potentially. And I guess Friday was the greatest night to do it, because also we had 2 other things happening Friday night, and so the universe was like, oh, you have 2 twos? Let's hit you with the 3rd thing all at the same time. I'm like, thanks, universe. So when I got there on Friday night, there was a mare who was acting a bit colicky, and so I gave her medication, and I was keeping a really close eye on her to make sure that everything was fine, or if I needed to call the vet. I feel like it's pretty easy to tell at what point you need to call the vet on a colic or not, and in this case, she was just gassy. But obviously, I was paying a lot of attention to her, making sure she was fine, making sure I didn't need to call the vet, it wasn't something worse than just gas, things of that nature, right? And so obviously was keeping an eye on her. Then at the same time, well, not at the same time, but during the day, my personal baby, the Instagram baby, he had a temperature, he had some diarrhea, and his blood work was just absolutely shit. And so they put a catheter in on him so we could do medications. And so I went up to go to the medications, and the son of a gun had somehow ripped out the catheter. Not just rip it out, like when we put the catheter in, we have like a wrap that goes around it so that they don't mess with it, right? He went through all the wrapping, ripped it out of the vein, and took all the stitches that, you know, keep the catheter in place out too. Like, he just went, and he was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, looking proud of his work, staring at the door, like, look at what I did. I'm like, sir. I'm like, God damn it. So I always feel so bad when I have to call the vet at night, because you know they work all day, and it's just like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And so I called, and I was like, okay, listen, we can either wait and do it in the morning. He will miss 2 treatments, or do you want to go ahead and just do it now? And he's like, I just got back in from an emergency colic. I was like, oh my God, twinsies. Not really, because mine was fine. But he was like, I haven't fallen asleep yet, so I'll be there. I said, okay. And so I knew it was going to take him about 20-30 minutes to get there, and I headed back down to the foaling barn, because we have the older babies up at the top barn and the mares that are about to have their babies in the middle barn. And so I went back to the middle barn, and after a little bit, I made the decision to call my backup. And I said, hey, the vet is on the way, should be here in about 20-30 minutes. This mare that I'm staring at has like just started like beginning stages of labor, right? And so like there's a difference between them being uncomfortable and then stage 1 of labor. Some of them are a little like, some of them are sly about it, you know, don't really give you a heads up. But stage 2 of labor is officially when they like break water. And so I called him and I said, so she's just starting to get a little bit warm. Here's the thing, vet's on the way. I don't want to leave her alone, you know, and like her go into labor. So I was like, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 30 minutes, I don't know. But obviously, like, come babysitter. He said, okay. And so he got there before the vet did. And actually, when we were there, we went ahead and stuck an arm in just to see where she was at, because she had kind of been on and off uncomfortable ahead of time. But like this was actual labor, like the beginning stages of labor. And so we were kind of curious to see like, well, like maybe something was cooking, right? And sure enough, we just feel the nose and we don't feel any legs, which is the exact same way one of the tappets came out. And so a little more deep diving, we could feel the knees. I just like spit everywhere. We could feel the knees, but we couldn't grab anything. And he said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take her to the clinic, and you'll just sit here and wait for the vet so that, you know, you can put the catheter in. And I said, okay, cool. And so now at this stage, this was like really early, as in like we caught this before she broke water, which is when a lot of people would have caught it. So with like, you know, we caught this really, really early. Anyway, so good news is the vet, we didn't have to wake up the vet twice, because anytime we have to go to the clinic, we always have to call our vet and say, hey, we're taking so-and-so to the clinic for this reason, we'll be there in this many minutes. And then he has to call and actually tell them, hey, so-and-so's on the way, this is what's going on, they'll be there in this many minutes. They actually have to call in to report it. So we didn't have to wake him up twice, at least. Yeah, you know? And so I was handling with the vet the catheter, and he took the mare to the clinic. And so I kind of just had to sit and wait for whatever, you know, whatever they were going to tell me what happened, right? And I had a feeling it wasn't great, because it took a lot longer than normal. Like, you know, we have like a pretty good idea of how long situations take. And sure enough, it ended up being a little different than what we were expecting. Well, not really expecting. We knew we didn't feel legs. So we knew that the legs were trapped against the baby's sternum, right? And so we just didn't know necessarily to what effect until it was out. So there's a thing called contracted knees, and essentially there's varying degrees of it, right? So basically you know, you're like, if my elbow is my knee, you like, if you can be here, but you can also stretch all the way out, right? So with the contracted knees, typically it's like let's say it's here, it can't go out any farther, like it's stuck here, but it can go in, right? But it can't go out to the way it's actually supposed to be extended. So normally if you have a contracted knees, like, you know, you can give them oxytetracycline, you can wrap them up like with bandages and therapies and things of that nature to help encourage the legs to straighten out and have them at their full range that they're supposed to. Unfortunately, there does come a point when something is not necessarily salvageable. Like, there's only so much that, you know, drugs and therapy can do. And so with this case, this kiddo's feet were like his knees were so tight, there was absolutely no flexion whatsoever. The bottom of his feet were basically glued to his sternum. So he was stuck. He was permanently sitting like, you know, like this, like there was no bending there. It wasn't doable. With situations like that, they don't happen too often. I mean, you know, the last time we had one like that was 7 years ago, I think. Something like that. There's nothing, unfortunately, you can really do. We've tried before in the past, doesn't work. You know it's bad when a vet looks at you and like is trying to stretch a leg and is shaking his head like, I'm sorry, like you're done. So, you know, it sucks. We will not be seeing that kiddo. Good news is he didn't have to suffer or anything. Like, you know, it was something that, okay, he was born, everybody was there, they gave him his pets when they said goodbye. And also good news is that mom never actually got to see the baby. And I know for some of you, you're probably like, okay, how is that a good thing? It's because she literally was asleep for the whole process, so her grieving process is basically going to be hopefully non-existent, because she just thinks she went on a field trip and took a nap and woke up and she's still at her new field trip, right? So yeah, about to say, it's one of those things. It's not necessarily genetic. We actually have I was so excited for this baby. We have a full sibling, and she's beautiful, and if anything, she's a little flat-kneed. So, you know, there is the thought that maybe too much sugar in the diet is like one of many reasons that this happens. That being said, if that was the case, then we would see it more often, because she was on the same feed schedule as others. Well, she was a ship-in, so she wasn't under, you know, we didn't have her for the entirety of her gestation. But they feed the same thing we do, and we would have seen it with more of their kids if that was the case. It was just kind of one of those things that, unfortunately, it was just essentially a deformity that you couldn't fix. We can fix a lot of things, and we try to fix a lot of things, and if it's doable, we do it. If it's just gonna be suffering for the animal, it's just, you know, there's kind of that line that unfortunately you have to make, which sucks. But yeah, so, good news is at least it was quick and easy, and the decision was made very quickly, and it wasn't like a long, drug-out process. Bad news is obviously we don't get to see kiddo, which sucks. And in all honesty, yeah, you'll have to realize that, with how many babies we have every year, I'm as much as we don't want it to happen, I mentally expect us to have anywhere from 1 to 3 that for whatever reason something happens, such as a deformity, or there's an accident out in the paddock, or a sickness, or just something that, you know, is kind of beyond our control, that it's just life. Where there's life, there's death type situation. You know what I mean? Anyway, so we will not be seeing him. And I know some people are kind of you handle death very nonchalantly. I had to bring this up on TikTok, because I know how some people, they're you're not bawling. And the whole thing is, I think people who are scared of death have issues with death a little bit more. I have long since understood that, hey, breeding is not for the faint of heart. There's some things beyond your control, and in all honesty, there's a whole lot of things worse than death. And my belief system, I feel like, also makes it easier. And the fact that I think if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and the soul will find its way back to you one way or another. So I feel like that always makes it a little bit easier. I don't know. Anyway, no one else had any wax or anything when I left. Everyone's been pretty quiet. I don't think we're gonna have a baby this weekend by any means. I have a feeling we're gonna have a couple of days off, and then I know we've been moving a lot of babies out of that barn recently. We had a lot of babies in that barn, so I have a feeling we're gonna have a whole bunch of new faces to say hello to sometime next week with new mare wise. But honestly, baby wise, I think we're gonna have a bit of a break. I have a feeling, unless the mare who had to go to the clinic the other night, her buddy decides to do something now that her buddy is moved. I wouldn't be like, that's a thought process. I don't know. I have a feeling it's gonna be a couple chill days, which good, because I need to catch up on a couple paperwork in my book, and I need to stop looking at plants because I just repotted all my plants, and now I want to pot more plants. But I still need to make my hair appointment. That's what I really need to do. Anyway, so as much as there's a big ass trailer coming down this tiny little road. So as much as it sucks, it is unfortunately something that happens. We wish it didn't, but unfortunately we can only play God so much. You know what I mean? Anyway, well, hopefully next week, now that we got all the freaking bad juju out, hopefully next week and the rest of foaling season is significantly happier and easier. Hopefully, that's what I'm leaning to. Anyway, I'm sure this is probably going to go up a little late because I haven't not edited anything, and it is Saturday, and I need to edit. Anyway, so I will see you all next week.